各位亲爱的网友朋友，大家好。
Hello everyone.
在咱们生活中啊，就是时常会有的各种各样的神秘的事情。
In our daily life,
就
we
是有时候
encounter
我们会有一
many
些感
strange
受
things.
啊，就是比如说你正在看一个电脑，
For example, you're watching a computer.
突然会感觉到，哎，你的脖子那里好像有人吹一下气，
Suddenly you feel that at your
或
neck
者是有人在
somebody
你后
blew
腰好像用
like
手
an
指顶
air
了一
at you,
下，
or somebody used their fingers
但
to
是你肯
touch
定
you.
回头看没有人，
But when you turn
周围
around,
根
there's
本就没
nobody
有
there.
第二个人在你跟前，怎么那个感觉那么明显
But
呢？
why is it that that feelings is so
怎么
obvious?
还有人会感觉到，在某种情况下会感觉到，哎，自己头顶上一根头发被拽。
Some may find that somebody pulled their hair.
我相信有很多人是有过的。
I'm sure
这个
many
是一
people have
种
encountered
就是
this.
身体生理上的一种特殊的一种就是感觉呢，
This
还
is
是确
quite
实有
a
什么样的
unique type
东
of
西捅了他一下，拽了
experience.
他一下。
But is that
你们俩
really
觉
the
得呢？
case, or is it really indeed
是的，
that
是
someone
这
that
样子的。
pulled the hair?
就是看不见的空间里，其实经常我
Masters,
们可能
actually, this
不
is
知
the
道是什么
dimension
的
that
力
we
量
have
和我们
no
会有一些
view
交
of.
互。
对，还有的人哈，就是更严重一些哈，这个情况，就是
Some
好像
people,
一
their
直有一
conditions
个
can be
声音
more
和一个影
serious.
子，或者是一种感觉，
Maybe
一
it's
直
a
陪伴
tense,
着
it's a
他。
feelings.
比如从某年某天开始，
Say, for example,
有
from
一
a specific
次
year,
发烧，
a person
心
starts
情
to
不
have a
好，
fever,
或者一次失恋，
or
心情不
the
好，
person
通常也
suddenly
是在选
out
择
of
一个这个
relationships and
人
affected that
身体
person,
不好或者情绪特别低
or
落
the
的时
person
候，
has a
而
very
出
low
现类似这种
emotions.
现象。但是偶尔出现一次半次的，
So sometimes
就
if
过
you
去
experience
就
it
过去
once
了
in a while,
这
it's
个
not
就是巧
too,
合了
it is just a
但是
coincidence.
有的人就这一次之后，一陪伴就是好几年，乃至
But
半
for
辈子。
some, they have these
但是这
feelings
个
for
状
several
况
years.
发生哈，比如说感觉到后腰被咚顶了一下，
For example, someone have the experience that somebody
然后
touched the
明
back.
天如果再发生呢，
If it
后天
happens
还发
again the
生呢，
next day and the day after,
就你不敢多想，你一多想
you
的时候
dare
你
not
就觉得
think
有点后
further.
怕，是吧？
对，
哎，7天以后就听到声音了，
What happened
有人
after
在说
7
话，
days? You
说下
start to
午
hear
要
a
下雨，
voice,
带
and
上
it can
伞。
be quite scary.
事儿是这样，结果下午真的下雨了。哎，说这个声音从哪来
So
的？
somebody asks you to bring an umbrella,
哎，说明
and it's
天
going to
要
rain
注
in
意哈，
afternoon, and
路
indeed
上
in the
塞车特
afternoon
别
it
严重，
rains.
你
And
最
the
好绕
next
路
day,
而行。
somebody
说没
tells
听
something
话，
to
哎
you.
什么怪声音呢？可能是自己想出来的
So
吧。
you start to wonder, is
结
that
果
yourself
走原
or
路，
is it
路上就塞车。哎，这个
something
声音
that's
从哪
really
来
the
的？
case? So you heard a
再看
voice
就
that
知道。
says that it's going to have a congestion
这
on
不
the
由得你
road.
开始相信
And
是吧？
indeed, when you went out, the congestions happens.
不是你自
And
己
you
碰
start
到
to
你
believe
难
in
以
it.
相信。
关键他是谁？
So the question is, what's
而
the
你觉得
voice
哎，这
from?
是给我帮忙的呀，
You may think that, well, this person
让
is
我有
there
应
to
答
help.
功能了。哎，耳朵里听到有个声音，
You can hear something.
他是谁？
So who exactly is the person that is
你会把被
talking
误
to
导
you?
了哈。AI 就是高科技的哈，AI 也不知道。
Well, is it AI? I
比如
don't
说明
think
天
AI
感
know
冒
the
，AI 能
answer.
知道吗？
Do you know the AI will be
是吧？
able to predict
比
the
如
weather
说
for
已经在
tomorrow?
网络上有人发了讯息的
Say
东
if
西，
you're on the
你说
internet,
科技
somebody
的东西
sent
肯定
some
能查出来
message.
是吧？但是谁也不知道的事情。
Yes, but if you're
比如下午
talking
你要
about
打到
things
脚，
that there's
谁
no
也
way
不知
to
道了，
predict,
没人有预感，对不对？
who has the
但是如果
sense
东
of
西告诉你，小心
predictions?
脚趾头今天说不定被砸到哈。结果下午真砸到了，说哎妈呀，这是谁呀？
And you start to wonder, what is that
所以如
voice
果
that
刚
is
可以
making the
光给你一
predictions
点
and telling
警
you?
觉的提示的，这还
Who is
好。
the one that highlight?
有些人
the
来到
danger
这
to
种
you?
感觉之后哈，非常的痛苦，又
Some
抽
people
筋
who feel it,
手
they
都伸不
feel in
开，
pain.
眼睛翻白眼，口吐白沫，有的还更恶心的吐黄水。
Some actually start
把
vomiting.
上去年的面汤都给吐出来了，
Some actually vomiting in pieces, in huge amount.
对，很恶心是吧？
It's quite
但是
disgusting.
谁也不乐意这样，
So
至
nobody
少
wants
大
to
家知道这
experience that.
来到这种病态，对不对？
So it becomes a form
哎
of
所以这
sickness.
种事情特别多。
And it's
今
very
天呢，我们
common
准备
for
非
such
常
to
丰富
happen.
的，还有的好故事哈。
We
来
do
吧
have
跟
some
大家分
interesting
享。
stories to
感恩
share.
师傅真的是为这些应该说是还是不幸的这些
Well,
网
I
友
think,
们
Master, some of these
送上
stories are
先送
actually
上一
quite
份理解和
unfortunate.
同情哈，是这样子。 但是也看看他们有没有办法。
Let's see if there's a way that they can help themselves. Once let's see Xiao
我
Mu's
占了他的
stories.
床。
Did I take a bed?
我是小木。
Hello, Master. I'm
有一
Xiao
次
Mu.
我在陪护父
Once,
亲住
while
院的时
accompanying
候，
my father in the
隔壁病
hospital,
房
there
也有
was a
一位
female monk in
陪护
adjacent
父亲
ward
的
also
中年
taking
僧
care
人
of her
说
father.
他们那个房
She
间有一个
mentioned that there
空
was an
床，
empty
邀
bed
请我晚
and
上可
invited
以
me
去
to
他们
rest
的
and
病
sleep
房
there
休
at
息睡
night.
觉。我的父亲说
My
他
father
没
said
事，
he has no
就跟我说你
objections.
去睡吧。
You go rest.
隔壁的这间
So
房
in
呢
the
有
adjacent
3
ward,
张床位，
there were 3
女
beds.
僧人的父
The
亲是睡
female
一张，
monk's father occupied
女
one,
僧人睡一
the
张，
female monk
我
slept
睡
in
在靠
another,
窗的
and I
床。
slept in the
我
bed
正
by the
躺在
window.
床上睡觉，
As I lay in
睁
the
开
bed
眼睛，
sleeping,
哎，
I
怎么
suddenly
看到
opened my
床边站着
eyes
一
and
个
saw a
女人？
woman standing by the
女人
bed.
非常不高兴的样
She
子，
looked
没
very
有说话，
displeased and
恶
stared
狠
at
狠
me
地看着我，直
with
觉
a
告诉
menacing
我
look
她在
without saying
质
a
问
word.
我为什么站
My
了她的
intuition
床。
told me she was
接着
questioning
我就
why
惊
I
醒
took her
了，
bed.
原来
Then
是
I
一
woke
场
up.
梦。
It turned out to
醒
be
来
a
后，
dream.
我和梦里一样的
Upon
躺
waking
在
up,
病
I
床
was
上，
lying in bed
刚刚
just like in a
情景
dream.
就像真
The
实发
scene
生
felt
过
so
的一
real
样，
that it was
让
hard to
人分不
distinguish
清
whether it
楚
was a
究
dream
竟是
or
梦
if a
还
woman
是
has
真的
actually
有
been
个女
there.
人来过。我躺在床
So
上
I
缓
lay in
好
bed
一
for a
会儿，
while,
回味了
pondered,
一下，便
and
把
then
这
shared
件
the
事
incidents
讲
with
给
the
了
female
在同
monk
病
in the
房的
same
女
ward.
僧人听。这位女僧
The
人
female
告诉
monk
我，
said
昨
a
天下午4
middle-aged
点多
woman
钟，有个中
suddenly
年女
passed
人突
away
然离世了，
around 4
就
o'clock
是
yesterday
这张
afternoon.
床。估
That
计
was the
因为
same
刚
bed
刚
she
去世不久，
occupied.
还没有意识到
Presumably,
自己
since
已
she's
经
just
死了，
recently passed
所
away,
以非常不
she
高
wasn't
兴我
aware
睡
of
在
her
她的
death
床上。
and was unhappy
听
that I
后，
slept in
我
the
瞬
bed.
间毛骨悚然，
Upon
立
hearing
马把
this, I
床
was
腾了出
horrified
来，
and
匆匆
quickly
谢过女
vacated
僧
the
人，
bed,
赶紧就
thanked
回
the
到
female
我父
monk,
亲的病
and
房
hurried
去
back
了。
to my father's walk.
挺紧张又害怕
It's
的
quite
是吗？
scary
嗯，
after
只能
hearing
想到
her
你
sharing.
半夜睡着觉，怎么突然睁
Why
开
is
眼
it that in the
睛，
middle
有
of
个
the
人
night
低
there
着
is
头
an
看着
image
你，
of a lady staring at
还
her?
感觉占了别人的床？
She have the intuitions that she actually
这
occupies
怎么讲
another
更晦
person's
气
bed.
的吧？
关键这不是人在看你，是
The
吗？
problem
更
is it's
晦气
not
的
a
就是
woman
这张
that's
床，也
human
就是
beings
昨
is
天的时
staring.
候刚刚
And
去世了一
it's
个人，
happened that
所以
someone
我们的
passed
这位
away the
小木
day
网友啊
before.
就会知道，糟了，
So the moment when she
呀，
heard
可
that
能
someone
就是
passed
这位
away
刚刚
the
去
day
世的这
before
位
on the
中年
bed,
妇女，
she
但是
sensed that it's actually
肉体已
danger.
经走了啊，已经就是没有了。那么可是她的灵魂呢？
So although the
有点乱
body has been
啊，
removed,
可能还以
but
为
the
自己还
spirit
留
may
在
still
这
be
儿，
there.
还在住院。
Maybe the
哎，一不
spirit
小
still
心
thinks
冲撞了
that he's
吧？
not
对，
哎，冲
dead
撞了别
yet.
人，对不起，赶紧走，赶紧走，咱还得给人腾地儿吧。
嗯别睡了。
嗯，
这个听起来挺巧合的
Well,
啊
it sounds like a
其实在
coincidence.
巧合的角度来说，可以理解。
From the perspective of
那是不是
coincidence, you
这
can
位
understand.
就是见到梦中的这位女
But
士哈，
if it's
她是
indeed
不是
she saw
也是
the
心
lady
有
in the
余
dream,
悸的，因为医院里头
But
经常会出现死者哈。
actually,
Right.
let's talk about it. In the hospital,
幸运
there are a
的
lot of
灵活
death
地
that
走
occurs
了
there.
对。
不幸的呢就往生了。
Some who are lucky,
这张
they
床上
can
特别的
be discharged from the
没
hospital.
有这样的事儿
Some
发
who are
生。
unlucky, they may die in
我
the
想
hospital
呢
bed.
他的故事写来的时候呢，能感受到这个女病人应该没那么多想，可是就很巧合的是，睡到那个床上，朦
So
朦
I
胧胧
think
就看到这
from
件事
her stories, you can sense that there's actually no relationship between the
确实
two.
比看到那
It's just so coincidence
可以
that she
设
slept
身
in the
处地
bed
如果
that
是
she
我们
just
自己
passed
躺在
away.
这个床上发生这个事儿的时候，
If it's happened
你
to
心里
us,
作何感
how
想
do you feel?
你会不会继续赖在床上不
Will you
起来
still want to continue to lie in that bed?
啊？
好都来
Not
了，
get
会
up?
冒着烟就
No,
窜出去
I just want to escape as soon as possible.
床上就连那个病房都不想
对，
进了
都不敢
Actually, I don't even want to go into the
对
ward.
因此说呢，没事别去医院。
So that's why we say that if
你
you're
没事
if
别
you're
找个
nothing
理
to
由说
do,
我病了
don't try to go to the hospital. And
所以
avoid lying in the hospital bed
以
unnecessarily.
我的所学的知识来说啊，
From my
我
own
觉得那个
understanding,
确实一个女鬼。
indeed,
你
she's
说
a
鬼这个
ghost,
词
a
还是
lady
太
ghost.
差啊
And
就
when you
是
hear
活在
this,
我们
you
认为
may be
可见的
scary
人世间的真人是吧？
because
就是有
she's not
气势的灵
someone
魂
is not a
这样
human
一说
being.
就不会太害怕了。那么这个灵魂谁都有灵
So
魂
it's a spirit.
啊，尤
Everyone
其
has
这
a
个灵魂
spirit.
容易出现的时候呢，是
So
去世之后。
when
哎，
it's
所以
easy
这
for
位
the spirits to
朋友
occur
呢，梦
is
到
when
的
the
这位
person just pass away.
女灵魂吧，哈，应该是可能就是上一个或者前两个就在这儿 死去的一个人。
So the fact that she dreamed of the female ghost, it's very likely that it could be the one that just recently passed away, or it could be someone that recently passed away lying on the bed.
没做这份超度的功德，那么他们呢？
So what could have happened is that the spirits' families didn't carry out any ritual to liberate her soul, and that's why her soul continued to stay here.
敲他的理来了，对不对？但是呢，一个灵魂他没有那么多的思考。
So for a spirit, they don't have too much thoughts process.
所以不知道怎么办。
So they didn't know what to do because they died already. The body is not longer there, but the spirit still exists.
就这个
So they
意识
just
传达给了睡觉的人，
loiter there,
真挺恐怖。
and that's why
所以
the
必须到
sense
医院
go
睡
to
觉
the one who lied in bed.
嗯，
So immediately that dreams occurs.
他其实如果身上佩戴了我们的法物，是不是可能就会
Actually, if she has worn
我
some
认为会有帮助
protective
我们
or
不敢
bring
说
along
你
some
带了这个法物就不
blessed
做什么噩
items,
梦
maybe she can
比
avoid
如
that.
说你带着咱们
I
一
think
个
so.
加持的东西啊，
Maybe you bring
也
something
许你
that's
会有感
blessed.
应
Maybe
会
you
感应
don't
到也许
feel
没有看
anything.
到它
You may
甚
not
至
see it.
你会感应到说这个床还是别睡了好，
Or you give you a
可能
sense
会
that maybe
有
you
一些
shouldn't
其他的
sleep on the
反应
bed.
不一
You
定
will
像
be
你
able
们
to give you
真
other
实的
sense.
梦境的看到这位女灵魂啊，
Maybe she will not see the
是不一样
spirit
的
if she
感受
wants some of the blessed
所以咱们的
items,
法物一定
some
会对它有
protective
保护作用
blessed items.
对，
So
所以身上
different
如果带
blessed
什么
items have
人
different
去医院
purpose.
啊，比如去参加追悼会，
Usually, if you go to a
甚至可以
funeral,
参加
attend a
喜事的时候
funeral,
最好也带着辟邪的
or
东西
if you attend some like a hospital to a hospital, you should try to bring with you some protective blessed
我
items.
我讲有时候
like
怕得罪人哈，
Varapasol
我也不讲的话
Well,
就成
if I
别的
don't
话
say
哈
this, when I say this, I may upset
你
someone,
的
but
表情来说不真诚，
想知道师傅？
想知道哈？预知后事如何，且听下次直播的时候我再给你们讲。
挺
好的，师傅。
啊，
我们讲到喜事的时候，正好就感应上。
下次我再讲哈。
好，
所以当我们去一些，比如说你去
I will talk this in further details in the
到
next
可能
live
是郊区
broadcast.
去吧
But if you go to
可能
some
你会遇到
faraway
什么东西
place,
不知道
what can you meet?
对不
You
对
have no
比如说我
idea.
去郊区北山，
Say you
带他
go
们家老小
to
去
the
玩
North Mountains and you're
因
going
为
to
毕竟
have
不像你上班的
a
途径
it's
那么
not your usual
叫做
route
特别规矩，对不对？
that's
那你叫
very
我就开到我的公司，我
systematic. You
正
can
常的
just like
工
if you
作
go to work,
就
the
是
route
正
is
常的
very
工作
familiar to you.
相对比较单纯。比如带全家也好，带和朋友一起也好，
So
有
with
时候去北
families,
山玩儿
you go to the
那
mountainous
山不是
areas.
你的公司那么小，对不对？
So although the
不知道
mountainous
会遇
areas
到
is not as small as
去
your
到一个庙
company,
碰到一片坟，
maybe
你
you
都
may
不一
chance
定会有产
upon
生什么样的
a
感受，
cemetery.
甚至有时候还有鬼打墙、
Sometimes
幻影。
you may
对吧？
even have
幻觉
image
都会
or
发生。
visions of
所以呢，最好身上呢
ghosts
出门的时候哈，
So it's
身上
important
带
that
有
when
一
you
些
go out,
保护自己的
you
一些
want to
小宝
bring
物
along some
我觉得
protective
可能
blessed
还是有帮
items.
助的作用
I think it will be useful
可
to
能会有
you.
帮助作用。
平安吉祥。
对对对，
Some
这是我
Varapasol.
自己认为来。
I think so. I think it will protect you. That's my opinion.
那我们给网友小木也送个礼物
Shall
吧，
we have a prize for her, a present for her? Sure.
就给她一个吉祥小法物。
Auspicious blessed items.
给个这个，
How about this?
多漂亮的珠子啊，
A beautiful bracelet.
像像晶莹的绿宝石哈，
It's
它
a
有一颗
precious
八宝
八宝
灵珠
灵，
8 auspicious treasure beads.
戴上它啊，
When you wear
希望以
this,
后再也不要见到这些东西。
you
好
will
吧
be free from all the spirit.
祝你健康长寿。
Wishing you health,
感恩
longevities.
师傅。好，那接下来，给师傅带来一位洛杉矶的如伦啊。他分
Next,
享
we have a stories from
被
Rulo.
白衣女鬼缠上了。
哎呦，
他说：“师傅好，弟子来自洛杉矶，很高兴。
Hello,
能够跟
Master.
大家
I'm
分享
Lulun
我的
from
故事
LA.
在我
I'm very
23
glad to
岁
be
的时
able to
候
share my
当时
stories
呢
with all.
上学能够近一些
When I was 23 years old, I live in a half-basement house for
搬
convenience.
进去之后吧，
After
我就
moving
开始
in,
发现
I
自
found
己不太
myself
想回家
reluctant to go home,
在家里的时候
and
呢，
often
时常
I
会有
felt
莫名的难过这样的
inexplicably
感
sad
受
at home.
很多时候，我即便
Sometimes
是走到了家
I
门
sit
口
in the car
我都不想
outside,
进去，
not wanting
我
to
就宁
enter.
愿一直坐在自己的
I
车
rather
里
play
玩手机
with my
玩到
phone
深
until
夜，
late
最后
before
困得
going
不
back
行
to
了，
sleep.
才不得已的进去睡个觉。
And this continued until I realized I would wake up at night suddenly. And when I wake up, my eyes were wide open. My mind becomes alert. Initially, I didn't pay much attention until one night when I woke up and I felt something pulling on my head. I started to suspect it wasn't that simple. Later, my mom visited the US, and after I went to pick her up at my aunt's house, but she saw someone in the car when I parked to pick her up, but I was alone. She insisted, "I saw someone in white clothes going out of the car with you. How did she disappear?" I told her I was just all alone. But she said, "No, I saw someone in white clothes and got out the car with you." When I heard that, I'm scared, and suddenly I realized that why is it that at night I have that feeling. And after that, the night awakenings intensified, sometimes multiple times at night, hindering my sleep. So one night, I even feeling as if I was almost pulled out of my body. I was so scared that I fled to a buddy's house with a blanket and fright. That night, I shared a room with my buddy. Surprisingly, I slept soundly until the next morning without any disturbance. However, the next day, as soon as I woke up, he rushed over to tell me that last night, while we were sleeping, he suddenly woke up. His eyes opened abruptly, and his mind became instantly clear. And he saw a white figure floating out of the window. By this point, the sequence of events was becoming clearer, and I thought I should move out immediately. So before finding a new place to live, I stayed with classmates and friends. It was a little bit troublesome, but at least it was peaceful. After moving to a new place, I thought things would be calm. However, one night, I woke up suddenly again. This time, I didn't feel pulled awake, but I sensed something trying to enter my body through my anus. The days passed with this turmoil, and both my body and mind didn't feel as well as before. I also suffered from very frequent insomnia. One day, after leaving my friend's apartment, I saw 3 Buddhist books on karma, spirits, bodhisattvas, and the benefits of practice. I took some home and started reading them. I finally felt I found a way out, so I began practicing meditations and chanting. However, after a few days, one night while meditating, a white ghostly face suddenly appeared in front of me. It frightened me, and I refrained from meditating for several days. On another night, I woke up suddenly while sleeping. I saw the windows was open. I thought I had forgotten to close it. Just as I was about to get up to close it, and I noticed the door was slightly open. I was even more puzzled because I hadn't left it that way. Suddenly, I saw a woman in a white robe standing outside the door, taller than the door, but with no visible face. With a trembling voice, I asked, "Who are you?" At the same time, I started chanting Namo Amitabha Buddha. After chanting twice the Buddha's name, I woke up and realized it was a dream. But this dream felt incredibly real. Life is unpredictable. I thought meditations and chanting would provide a way out, but it didn't seem to be that case. The previous experiences involved only sensory feelings, but now I was seeing things vividly. My mother sought help from a spiritual medium who said it was a monster trying to communicate with me. I was too terrified to communicate. As the saying goes, it's better to stay alive than to die. I lived through this torment as if each day was a year. One day after dinner, I saw a book titled Buddhist Robe stacked outside a restaurant. I took it home, and unable to sleep, I read the entire book in one go. Unexpectedly, this book changed my life. Before, I wondered if one truly needed the protections of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in practice. After experiencing encounters with monsters and white-robed ghosts during meditations, I felt a strong need for a master. While chanting, I couldn't concentrate. Suddenly, I thought of Grandmaster JinBodhi from Buddhist Robe, and thinking nothing venture, nothing gain, I chanted his name. So I chanted his name a few times, and suddenly I saw him standing in the air, wearing a white robe with blue borders. I was startled, but then I became calm. I deliberated whether I should bow or not. What if it was another monster? What if I was wrong? The consequences could be terrible. But then I thought, what if he's really there? It would be a shame to miss this opportunity. I was torn. In the end, I bowed. Just as I was about to bow to Masters, I was really kneeling in front of him, and he touched the top of my head. Inexplicably, since the touch from Master, the white-robed ghost never appeared again, and I didn't encounter any other supernatural beings. Looking back, I had truly made the right decision. Later, I became fortunate enough to become a disciple of the Master. For many years, I've been studying Buddhism and compassion, persisting in my practice, and volunteer at the center. I have greatly benefited from Master's teaching, and I sincerely hope that more people like me can connect with enlightenment and benefits from it. I bow to Masters with both hands. Well, her stories you can actually make into movies. The white-robed ghost. And the image was very clear. And she has been troubling him until eventually she met Master. But there are a few points I was still not sure that I'd like to seek Masters. Because at the beginning, everybody's in school. So why is it that after she rented a half-basement apartment, she refused to go home? And she always had this sense of sadness. I find it quite strange. Because usually we don't have this sense of sadness. Well, is it menopause? No, it's a guy and still young then. Maybe it's a sign of depression. That's quite normal. It's quite normal. Or is it maybe he is going through some stress? But if this sadness lasts for very long, and there's no reason for it, like there's no one passing in the family, everyone is good and his relationship's normal, and if he don't feel like going to the house, it's a little bit strange. It is not a human's emotions, it's just strange. Is it because the room is not clean? Well, maybe we should ask more. So he continues to stay there, and there's this sign he will wake up in the middle of the night, and the eyes will become wide open, and the mind immediately became alert. So why is that so? So he questioned that as well. Because usually when we wake up in the middle of the night, we could still sense a little bit sleepy. But for him, he wake up at night, his eyes opens immediately and his mind become very alert. I find it very strange too.
如果从一般医学上来看，就有点精神质。
Well, I think the person is a little bit mentally sensitive.
好像并不是他个人的这个大脑问题。
就不同寻常。
I think it is not his mind, the problem with his
就是
mind.
不想回家。
He refused to go home or he don't feel comfortable to go
结
home.
合起来思考的时
So
候
when we think of all things combined together, why is it
有
so?
其人
There must be other
在这屋里
beings
头。
in the room.
对，然后更奇怪
Or
的
the
是他去
spirits
见妈妈
nearby.
的时候，哎，妈妈来看他嘛。
And when after that, when the mom came to visit him,
他说哪有人啊？
and the mom saw that there was another lady, then came out of the car, but he couldn't see it.
这一下就懵了。
对，
He became
这
unclear.
妈妈也不寻常哦，这妈妈也厉害，一下子还
Why is it that mom could see the white-robed
但是
ghost?
那个东西如果有个灵魂哈，
If it's indeed a spirit,
与它相关的人是能看到的，
and
不是多厉害。我记得我们之前讲过一位台湾的，
I remember we said something about a
记
Taiwanese
得有没有事儿吗？
practitioner.
也是家里人是说，回家他太太也说，哎，你不是还带一个人来吗？
The
让人
wife
进来
saw
说没
and said,
有
"Why is it that
没
you
有看
bring
得过
another
你们
person
副驾驶
home?"
座
But
你
the
还
person
啥不好意思的
no
让人进
didn't
来吧
feel anything.
其实是个女的
Didn't see
说真没
anything.
有。他太太也说，
The husband said, "No,
就
there's
是
no
你找
one."
过别的女人，你也不可能带回家来啊。
But the wife
既
said,
然都来了
"Well,
干嘛
there's a
不进门
lady. Why didn't you invite the lady in since the lady is
但是
outside?"
但那个台湾那件事是一个亡灵哈，
But for the Taiwan, that is also a spirit as well,
他们是警官嘛，
because it was a
有个
police
年
officer.
轻姑娘被杀，
So
被
the
杀
lady
后他们
was
尸体的
killed.
时候其实经常看尸体破案啊，
So a
人
lot
对
of
尸体
time,
是不紧张的。
when they look at the bodies to try to find clues or try to solve the case, they don't have much feelings, quite indifferent when they see a dead body.
冒失的说了一句：“哎呀，真喜欢，真太漂亮。”
Because I think he accidentally said a word. "Oh, this is what a pretty lady, pretty girl."
其实他也没有打算。
Actually, he has no other intention, just said the wrong words at the wrong place.
是吧？你既然要娶我，就跟你回家。
And because it says that you want to marry me, so the spirit said, "I will follow you home."
这是前一件事儿哈。
So that's the other incidents that we shared. Let's talk about this incident.
他妈妈看到
The mom
家
saw
做
the
一个
spirit.
穿白裙子的女的呀，
The say, "Who is the white clothes woman?"
是吧？这不可能有呀。
And he said, "No,
但是他妈
impossible."
那么执着说，我就看见了。
But the mom said, "Yeah, I saw the white
这个
clothes
时候
woman."
我们这位同学那个头发根儿会怎么样？
And now, can you imagine the
就跟
practitioner?
仙人掌
The
那刺
hair
儿
will
一样就立起来
stand because it sounds quite eerie.
对，这个时候才看到的叫真相。
That's the reality.
这屋里真住着别的主人。
Indeed, there's another spirit living in the same
外呢坐了车的，
对呀，
apartment
出去逛个街
是
啊，蹭个车，是不是？哎
更惊悚了。
哎，有点惊悚哈。从鬼魂角度来说正常。出去
So
逛个
from
街
this
蹭个车
point
也
of view of the spirit, this
只
is
是不小
normal
心没隐蔽好，被老太太发现了。
because the spirit didn't hide properly, and that's why the mom, the old lady,
可能是
found the presence of the
这个
spirit.
去世的这位亡灵哈，过去就在这个屋死的。
Maybe it is very highly likely that the spirit died in the space, in the half
但是过
basement.
去你说租房也好，买房也
Well,
好，
in the past,
哪
whether
知道那
you
么多
buy
底细呀？
or whether you rent a place, do you know the history? Do you know the
像住
past
旅馆的
tenant?
话，这种事儿经常发生。
Actually, in the hotel room, such things happens quite frequently.
还有就是他后来不就是卷着被子就卷着铺盖卷儿到一个哥们儿家去睡了吗？
So he also
然后睡了以
mentioned
后
that he
最好玩
went,
的就是
he was so
这一晚
scared
上
that
他
he
睡
went
好
to,
了
he moved to
可
his
是那个
friend's
哥们儿
house.
半夜突然醒来，
But
然后
similar
突然
things
睁开
happens
眼睛
in the
然后
middle
突然
of
脑
the
特别
night.
清醒
The
就是跟
friends,
他之前
it's
睡
the
睡
friends
觉半
now
夜醒来发生
who
的这
wake
个
up in the
状况一
middle of
模一
night
样
with eyes wide open
然后
and with
看
an
见一个
alert
白
mind.
色的影子从窗户跑出去了。
And he saw a
这女
white
鬼
clothed
谁都想试一
woman
试啊
escaping
但是
from
这
the
哥们儿
window.
阳气旺是吧？
哦
他问题是这样的，
啊，
所以每个人哈，
But because he has strong energy, it drove it
如人
away.
哈，
He has
就说明
strong
如
young
人是他
energy.
发生这个事儿的话，是他的当时 当年发生这个故事的时候他那个身体能量比较低。
So when this thing happens, well, the person has low energy.
也有的是遗传基因。
Some is because of
那
genetic.
个时候他的，按照我们偏内行来说，他的阳气比较少。
Well, from a person who understands why, it's because the person has lack of yang energy, more yin energy. And there are some signs when the person has more yin energy.
干扰一下大家的耳朵，就是阳气少、阴气重的人呢，这个脸色发青。
Actually, you can see from their face,
那么
they are a little bit greenish undertoned. For those who have stronger yin and less yang energy. If the person has strong yang energy, then it is more bright, more warm color. So the yin energy is stronger, you'll find that the colors tend to be cool in nature. So that's how you can distinguish both.
这样有这种感应。
It's a sense of feelings that you get from the person.
手脚容易凉啊，
没错，他的小腹就是下腹部和手心
So the other thing
特别容易冰冷。
is that you can feel the palms, the abdomen, and the feet tend to be very cold. Usually these people tend to be quite slim, and they have issues with digestion because they have difficulty to pass motions. So they couldn't contain the energy.
那所以呢，也更使他这个身体变得更加阴冷。
And that's why the body tends to be more yin in nature.
走走八卦呀什么的。
Maybe she can practice
对
energy
你
bagua.
说的是补充的方法
That's the
其实是这样
typical
的
method.
阴气重的时候就这样。
So that's what
他
happens
到
when a
哥们儿
person
那去
has
度一下
higher
的时
yin
候，对
energy.
这个鬼魂一试，这哥们儿不行，阳气太旺。
But
受不
when
了
he tried to go to his visit his friend's house, his friend has very strong yang energy.
就是
He
人也好，鬼
the
也好，
ghost tried to
温度还是
test
有
on the
闪
friend, but she probably couldn't enter his body, and that's why she escaped. And that's why when he opened his mouth,
因为他正
his
好把这
eyes
弄得
wide,
和他症状一
he
样
saw
晚上睡不着觉，瞪着
the
眼睛，这
ghost
就是没睡
living
意
the
对不对
through the window
结果后来一个影子
because he shows exactly the same sign.
看起来，所以这个事儿不是一个精神里的一个感应。
So, because the friend experienced the same thing, it is not something that exists in his mental state.
他也有说他在打坐的时候
He also mentioned that when he's
打
meditating,
坐的时候一闭眼睛，突
when
然
he
就出现
closed
一
his
个
eyes,
像一个白衣女鬼一样
he
的
saw
脸
a
出
white
现在他
image
面
as
前
well
给他吓坏了，
appearing.
一天都不敢打坐了。
And after that, it affected his meditations. He dare not meditate for several days.
重要啊。
And then he started to wonder if it's important to find a good meditation master to learn the
我们在修
practice,
行中啊，或者是进入到深层的这个
to
过程
provide
当
a
中
form of
还是很
protection,
需要
especially
是佛菩萨的
when
护佑
there is a need for deep meditative
你们学过一些
concentrations.
肢
Having
体
a
动作的
master
艺术
is
吗比如跳
critical.
舞呀、打拳呐、啥的，有练过吗？你们俩
有点瑜伽吧，以前
瑜伽哈，
Have you practiced any
看过
methods?
芭蕾哈，
I practiced some yoga before,
你都要有老师嘛。
but you need to
但
be
是
have
那
a
形体
teacher.
外在的，就是如果没有老师就
If
不
you
行，对吧
don't have a teacher,
就是如果更高境界
if you
就
want
比
to
如说
move
是跳舞
higher,
吧你跳更高境界的舞，还
it's
有
just
更
like
高境界的老
dance.
师指导你。
You
你才能
want to
跳
learn
那么
higher
高的
level
境界，
dance,
对不对？
dance steps,
我说
you
这还
need
是
to
外在
learn
的
from
舞
a
蹈
higher
形体
level teacher.
修禅
So
呢
similarly,
禅是内在。
meditations is the same
你看两本书，你就在那打
because
坐你打坐
meditation
打个
is
盹儿可以
inward
哈
looking.
或者
You want to
静静
look
听个类似
inside.
冥想音乐哈，
So we
你
do
啥都
have
不懂
some
一
music.
般也没事儿。愣是说我正想说我求得什么神通，求得什么
Well,
佛法
if
的时候
normally you
一定
just
得
want
求
to
麻
sit
烦就
down
来
and quiet your mind, that's quite easy.
所以
That's
呢
probably
真正
okay.
进入禅修
But
状
if
态
you want to
我
pursue
也
something
是
of
提
higher
示大
level,
家
higher
自
dynamic
学
power, you want to
这
and
碗
you
饭
need to
可是不
enter
好
a
吃
deep
啊
meditative
就是你不会修
concentrations.
偏就不错。
And
你别说
you
修
do
好
need to
比
have
如说你
proper
呢修
guidance.
的目的是为了解决
Otherwise,
自己
it
的
is
腰疼
easy
或者睡
to
眠
be on the wrong path.
但是呢，如果你修不好，就成精神病了。那你
Because
选择
if
要
you
哪一
took
个？
a wrong
就
step,
干脆腰疼继续腰
you
疼
may
算了
end up
也别精神病了。
in
精神
对
病更可怕。
所以
a
修行
mental
啊
state
它是
that
内
is
在
unstable,
还是一定要
and is a
拜
form
个好
of
的师
mental
傅
disease.
带你走向正道。
Thus, it is important for you to find a good meditation master to provide you with proper guidance. So in China, there are some that learn the method from me, and after that, they alter my Dharma methods and they teach a group of people, but it was on the wrong path, and it caused them to practice the wrong way. So if you have the right methods of practice, at least you will not get new disease through a practice. But if you're here to cure your back and you end up not having that disease cured, but even suffer mental illness, that's not good. Because do remember, if you want to enter into a deeper meditation step, anything that you need at least 10 years of practice. If the person is going for a meditation retreat, they need to have their master to provide them with Dharma protections so that they will not be disturbed by any form of spirit in their practice. The best possible is that they get nothing. For some, they may get enhancements of energy, but that percentage is not high. The higher level of practice exists because it is through the master's protections. Because when you're disturbed by evil spirits or evil energy, how do you deal with it when you lack the experience? Well, what if the subsequent spirits come and disturb you? You may not have enough precautions. Actually, in the meditative state, the type of experience is beyond what you can imagine. And that's why I can't emphasize more the importance of proper guidance. And that's why for Lulun, finally, after he practiced with masters, I think it's important for him because he chant, and when he have no way out, he think about me, and the image of me appears. But I'm not like a Buddha that looks like a Buddha. It is just a human being's image. So when he was in that state, I appears and I bless him. And I think he was really blessed. And after that, in his dream he is touched by the masters, the white robe ghost never appears again. What a coincidence. Wow. I think it's not bad, his practice. I have closed the openings. So a person, when you have some evil energy on you, say for example, it's a bottle. Well, because it's empty or the cap is open, that's why outside evil energies can go in. So for him, his body, there are some leakages. So when I help people, when I calm the spirit, first I get the spirit back, and secondly I close the gap. And third, I use very sacred chant. The chant is to make sure that no other spirits can enter into his body. I think currently only 5% in our Bodhi meditation organizations know to do that. Others, they can't. Maybe some have the opportunity to learn from me in the future. So shall we have blessed items for presents for him to enhance his young energy? What is this? This is Vajra pestle. So he's a guy. And look at this. This is yellow. This bracelet is royal yellow. It's beautiful. And for Lulun, wishing you safe, auspiciousness, and longevity. Thank you, Master.
接下来呢，又是一个非常精彩的故事。
Now we have
是我们
another
的
very interesting
网友
stories.
来自于台湾的
This is
阿
from
江
Taiwan, Ajiang.
毒虫加
It's
毒液
poisonous
师傅
creatures
好，我是阿江。
and family
在我
karma.
年轻的时候
Hello,
曾经
Master.
得罪
I'm
过一位
Ajiang.
风水师
When I was young, I
他在我
offended a
家
feng shui
放
master
草人嗜
who
血
used
术
black magic on our
这个
family
草人嗜血
and
术呢
causing
是要拿出来
illnesses
让大家看
and
一看
frequent
导致
accidents.
全家人生病、车祸不断。可能是他看到我们
I
家被
think he
整得
probably
太
sees
凄
that
惨
we
了。
have been
后来
tortured
他将
badly,
邪术草人
so he
收回
eventually
才
removed the
结
black
束了我
magic
们的厄
and
运。
ending our misfortune.
2014年进入菩提禅
After
修
joining
后，
Bodhi
我每天
meditations
都
in
认真修行
2014,
大光明
I
走八卦
practiced the meditations
练功
of
已经
greater
成为我生命
eliminations
不
and
可缺
energy
少的一
Bagua
部分。
diligently daily.
在2018年
In
的一天，
2018,
我一如往
on
常
the
的晚
particular
间修
day,
炼，回家后
I
做
finished
好
my
后
practice
呼
as
呼
per
大睡。
normal
梦
and
中
slept
我看到
deeply
全
after a
身
ritual.
所有的毛细孔
I
都
had a
爬出大
terrifying
量的虫
dreams
子，
where
那
bugs
些
emerged from
虫
my
子无
pores
止境地从毛
continuously.
细孔中
It
不
was
断地扭
scary
动
and
窜出，
disgusting,
样子十分的恐怖
something
和
that's
恶心，让
unforgettable.
我永生难忘。特别奇怪的是，
The funny
明
thing
明
is,
做了噩梦，
although
但
it
是我
was a
梦醒
nightmare,
了，反而整个
after
身
the
体非常
dream,
的轻松，
my body
如
felt
释
light.
重负一般。
It's like a
可一
relief.
回想起刚才梦
But
境中
when
的
I
虫
think
子，
about the
还是
bugs
会
in my
毛骨
dream,
悚然。
I still feel
这个噩
horrified.
梦过后，我又恢复了以
So I
往平
resumed
静
my
的生
normal
活。
peaceful life
可
after
是
the
今年的
nightmare.
8月，可怕的
However,
梦境
in
接二
early
连三
August
地
this
出
year,
现了，一次
unsettling
比一
dreams
次
occurs
又更
every
令
night.
人胆颤心惊。
Dreams including
8
being
月初开
bitten
始，
by a swarm
每
of
晚都出
mosquitoes
现不吉祥的
or
梦境，
snakes crawling
比
onto
如
my
梦
bed.
见被一大群蚊虫围着脸叮咬，或者是有蛇爬到我床上。每个梦境都
So
好
every
真实啊，
dreams,
让我
they
每
felt
天
so
恍恍
real,
惚惚，分不清
and it
真相。
causing a lot of confusion
8
between
月中，
reality
我又
and
做了一个
dreams.
奇异的大梦，一
In
个
mid-August,
梦中的我
I
身
had
体
a
不能
strange
自
dream
控，一
again,
直乱动，
and
狂
in the
乱到
dream,
停不下
I
来，
couldn't
我
control my
喊救
body,
命。
and I ended up
这时，
shouting for
有一
help.
位妇人缓缓走来，
A woman
口中念
approached,
念有词，为我
calming
处理
me,
狂躁的状态。
and
当我动作静止下来时，
when I quiet
有一
down,
只像蜈蚣的虫子
there is a
立刻从
centipede-like
我前
creature
跳出，
jumped out.
它还来不及反应或逃走
Before
时，
it can
就被一旁
escape,
神似
is
狮子
eaten
的动
by a
物吃掉
lion-like
了。
animal.
哎呀，那之后，我从
Upon
才
waking
刚
up,
刚从恐怖的梦境中缓缓地苏醒。我一转头，
when I
看到
turned,
床头放着
I
从
saw
北英请来的
a
师傅
wooden
加
dog,
持的木质小狗。
and that's
因
blessed
为
by our
我心想，
compassionate
在我
master.
梦里那个大狮子，
It made me
或许
think
就是这个小
the
狗
lion
视
in the
线的
dream
护法
might
神。
represent
是
these
师傅
guardian
加持的
deities.
吉祥法物忽悠了我。过了2、3天，
After a few
我再
days,
次做噩
I have
梦，
another nightmare.
梦里有一群人追赶
There
着
were
我，
people
企图
chasing me,
伤害我。
wanting to hurt
我
me.
拼命地逃跑，
No matter
却
how
一
fast
直
I
无
ran,
法甩开他
they
们。
were right behind.
这时，看见前
At
方
this
坐着一
time,
个人，我立
I
即
saw
跑
a
到那个
person
人
sitting
身
in
旁寻
front
求保护。
and ran towards
这
him
个人告诉
to
我，
seek
不用
protections.
怕，有我在。
He assured me, "Do
话音
not
刚
fear."
落，我也从
I'm
梦中
here.
清醒过来。
As soon as the
因为
words
连
were
续
said,
几日
I
噩梦
woke up
缠
from the
身，
dream.
我在睡前，床头摆放了一
Because
根
I
钢
was
卷，
plagued by
而
nightmares
梦
for
中
several
保护我
days,
的人的面
I
容，
placed a
竟然与金
Vajrapurva
刚
on the
诀上
bes-
雕刻
on
的
the
其中一
bedside
张脸是
before
一模
going
一样
to
的。
bed.
这几年碰到
And
的灾厄经历与
The
可怕梦境，使我
catastrophic
回想起
experiences and
我的
horrible
父母
dreams I
为了
encountered in the
养育8
past
个
few
子
years
女，有10
reminded
年
me
左右
that
的
my
时间，
parents
为
killed
了
many
营生，
ducks
杀害
for
了许多
about
鸭
10
子。
years to make
多
a
年以
living
后，父母也都
in
因
order
为
to
癌症
raise
往
8
生了。
children.
然
Many
而，
years
父母离
later,
世后，并
both
没有让
parents
灾祸
passed
消
away.
停。他们所居住的
However,
房子官
after
司
my
不
parents
断，
passed away,
我
the
们近代的
disasters
子
did
女
not stop.
诸事不顺，精
The
神方面
house
也都
they
有
live
忧郁
in
倾向，
continued to
严
be
重的被诊断为忧
litigated.
郁症，需
The
要长
children
期
of our
服药控
generation had
制。
troubles
令
and
我
were
担心
mentally
的
prone
是，
to
还持
depressions.
续到了下一代子孙，
Some
他
were
们一样
diagnosed
深
with
受忧郁
depressions
所苦。
and needed long-term medications to control it. Misfortunes never come singly. What's more, it passes on to the next generation of children and grandchildren, who too suffer from depressions and even more seriously stroke and mental disease. For the upcoming Ullambana festival, I gathered my siblings. I will lit lamps to liberate souls and sought blessings for our parents and beings harmed by them. My sister dreamt of our mother happily returned home thanks to Bodhi's miraculous influence. And my sisters picked a divine lord, and the divine lord asked us not to worry.
我们几个兄弟姊妹听闻后很高兴，赞叹菩提供灯的神奇与灵验。
We are so great that there's blessings from lamp lighting. I'd like to seek some guidance. The dreams are centipede-like creatures. What exactly is it? Is it because I have been harmed by black magic? And second question is the lion that appears in the second dreams. Is it a protective deity? And third, my sisters who passed away now come back after we lit light. Is it something positive? Please guide us, Master.
不可思议哈。
Sounds so amazing. The dreams has something very disgusting because there are insects emerging, and there's even centipedes jumping out. And the insects are crawling out from the swamps. That's really scary.
被中蛊的哈。
Yes, these are because of bewitchment.
而且是家族性被下蛊。
And it is the black magic, the spell is cast on the entire family.
风水师啊。
Who was it that they had trouble with? It was offended a feng shui master who used black magic on the entire family.
就是应该说是巫蛊吧。
So I'm quite sure that's come from of black magic.
对，也挺厉害的哈。
And I think that feng shui master is quite highly skilled.
对，很麻烦。
That's why there's trouble for the family.
最后才就都撤了，
又撤了。
他这个横祸就停了。对，他是来到菩提修行了，也做了功德。4年之后，一次是练完功，回家，然后就睡着了，就梦见这个虫子从身体出来。
It is after Bodhi that things starts to, and through her years of practice, that she had a dream. The dreams were bugs emerged from the paws, and after that, she felt light and relief.
啊，我觉得就像被诅咒啊。 就是巫蛊诅咒的那个感觉哈。
I think the feelings of being cursed by black magic.
蛊惑它通常用的是毒虫嘛。
The black magic itself, a lot of time they use poisonous bugs.
就带有点神性灵性的这个毒虫哈。
And these bugs tend to be a little bit spirited.
那么它这个经过修行之后呢？
Because through cultivations, after 4 years of cultivations, in the dream she can see the bugs. That is a good sign. And that is auspicious energy gathers through her practice. Because these are all positive energy. And it helps her to expel the negative energy from her body.
对他来说特别不寻常，又是一连串的噩梦，又梦到了这些什么蜈蚣的虫子呀。
But in early August, she had some more unsettling dreams, and she dreamed of inauspicious insects like mosquitoes or snakes.
他们的这生命的讯息之中哈，就容易招惹这些有点妖邪怪类的。
I think part of the things is that in their sense, they have these attractions of this negative energy towards them.
就是说，你看，就是很多人那个结婚的对象哈，其实两个人长得有点像。
Actually, if you look at the partner, the one you marry, the two persons tend to look quite alike.
就是一看对方就很喜欢，对吧？最后走上了结婚之路，其实都是不知道的。
Actually, when you see each other, because they resemble one another, that's why they end up marrying one another. This is called karmic connections. And what about when you have some strange disease? It is also the same. Because she mentioned that the family used to kill a lot of ducks. And, you know, that is a business. I'm sure that if you kill ducks as a business, I'm sure you must have killed a few hundred ducks every day. So what happens when you gather through years? Multiple lives have been lost. Well, we can understand that you need that to raise the families, but the job that you do, the career that they pick, involve killings. There's also another practitioner that shared with me that happens like many years ago. The parents are involved in killing chickens, and in Hong Kong. And the business is very big. They could have hired many laborers to do that. But the father didn't have a good end. And the siblings, all of them have some strange disease. And for him, the person was also sick for 7-8 years before the person died. The person had liver cancer. So after he joined us, he continued to live for 7-8 years, and he didn't really suffer the pain. He is a volunteer. He refused to take any single cents. And everything that he do, he's always happy. All works that he do, he's very happy. So it's easy that when you interact with others, you will have emotions. Every time when he's a center, he have no disease. He's always happy. Actually, before he was sick, somebody actually had some fight with him, and he had some emotions involved, and he refused to come to the center. But in his own words, because of his family engaging in killing-related business, none of his siblings have good ending. So if we look at this nexus sharing, the family kills dogs for a living. And not only that, they offended a feng shui master, and the feng shui master casts black magic on the entire family. And based on the sharing, you know that the family, these generations and future generations, all suffer from mental-related disease. But Master, why is it that she always dreams about the bugs? And she says that they put a wooden dog, blessed dogs. But why is it that in the dreams, she dreams that there's a lion jumping out? So she wants to know what exactly is the lion. Is that the protective deities? You are absolutely right. In our understanding of the ancient Chinese deities, protective deities, especially those who have watched the journey to the West, you find that there's this heavenly dog. They are the one that will eat up all the evil spirits. Very good. But it's actually a sacred heavenly deities. The heavenly dogs is a deities. So thanks for the protective deities. And the other time that helped to save her was the Prabha pestle. The look of heavenly guardian protector. So, in times of need, the guardian protector will appear and save her. So the good thing is, luckily, she practiced at Bodhi meditations, and she has invited blessed items and carry with her. And that's why, even though she has experienced many nightmares, she's still saved by that. Because now it's the lunar 7th month. And we just had the Ullambana festival. So she gathered the families and the siblings and said, now that we understand the karmic debts created by killings, so they gathered together and they lit lamps to liberate the souls and sought blessings for parents and those that harm by them. The fact that the parents had killed so many animals, so many ducks. What do you think? The ducks also is living beings, right? It will be a spirit itself, right? So can you distinguish whether it is a human being spirit or animal spirit? It's hard for you to distinguish the two. So I think because of her kind heart, she wanted to help to liberate those harmed by them.
哎，这个特别好。
就有个转机了，
对，
转运的开始了。
对呀，你看《地藏经》怎么教大家的？
So what did the Earth Bodhisattva Sutras teach us?
供地藏经啊，为了父母消父母的业啊，供了地藏经。
After they offered the sutra,
也可能就一切就是一了百了，诸事。
It may help to clear everything, and you'll be saved, you'll be pure, and you'll be healthy after that. That's because the person has accumulated virtuous merits. But if not, what happens? All these spirits that they've killed, they will continue to trouble you and affect you. It will affect your career, it will affect your health, and even affect your safety. But if you have done so much killings, these are all part of fate. Something that is predestined, something that's unavoidable. So my advice to you is to cultivate diligently. So the medicine Buddhas, the Earth Bodhisattvas will help you to clear your karmic debts. You have learned the importance of accumulating merits, so continue to do that. And as you do that, try to seek the blessings of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to help you to clear all the debts, karmic debts. But I just want to tell you that we have debts, karmic debts, we pay for it. Because it's something that we owe. So if you do not pay the debts, what happens? It's unacceptable. So you have to pay off your karmic debt first. It is only when you pay off your karmic debt, then when you completely pay for it, then you will gain more auspiciousness. Does he need a present? Yes. I think he needs it.
来个这个长的吧。这个是红琉璃珠哈。
So this is a chanting bit.
好，祝福阿江哈，早日消业哈。
Wishing you to help to clear your karmic debt soon. Wishing you auspiciousness, health, longevities, and happiness. Master, we have another online friend, Yuan Yuan. Gateway to another world. Hello, Master. I'm Yuan Yuan. I'm sharing my experience with my time in Europe 2 years ago. At that time, I was living in an 18th century old house, and this house has a lot of big windows and ample sunlight. The only place in the house that doesn't receive much sunlight is the attic, and that is our bedroom. I was always afraid to stay in the bedroom because I felt uneasy there. Every night, just as I was about to fall asleep, I would be startled awake by some lights flying before my eyes. When my boyfriend went on a work trip, I preferred to sleep in the living room rather than alone in the bedroom. One night, while sleeping in the living room, I saw the bedroom door close on its own. On another night, I saw a shadow of a person walking around in the attic. I was truly frightened, so I called a local medium to cleanse this house. I didn't tell her about my experiences. I only mentioned that we just moved in and wanted to purify the house. The medium sat in my living room, beginning drumming, and then she lit some sage before heading to the attic. She spent some time there and used the sage to cleanse the rest of the house. After everything was done, she sat down and told me that there were two spirits in the attic. First, is a young girl and an old lady. The girl was from World War I, and this old house used to be her home. She was waiting for her mother to return and would often hide in a wardrobe. The old lady was her grandmother, who took care of the young girl. She liked to sit on the recliner by the side of her bed. The medium told the two spirits that they couldn't stay and had to leave because it's now someone else's house. She also mentioned that usually she'd open a portal, like name, to send spirits to another world. But she didn't need to do so because I had already opened a portal. I was surprised, and I told her I hadn't done anything to open the portal. I didn't have the ability. She explained that chanting near my Buddha altar had inevitably opened a portal. I was amazed, and I had no idea that offering prayers and chanting hell had such power. I asked her if she could set protective boundaries around the house. She said she could, but it wouldn't completely prevent spirits from entering, as nearby spirits were already using the portal I had opened, and she didn't want to stop them from doing so. After the purification ritual, the house felt much better. I no longer felt as afraid of the attic as before. This is my personal experience, which I'm sharing with you, Master. This is a very interesting story. So there are two spirits. What is interesting is that there is a door opening to another world, a portal. And this local medium is a foreigner, came to the house.
看到的就是我们也在想师父这个外国灵媒他你看也是哈，他能感受到也能看到这项灵魂的存在。
So actually, this foreign medium can see the spirit as well. Where do they send the spirits to?
这个我不知道。
I do not know.
因为不是我做的。
Because I didn't do it.
如果因为每一个处理这件事情的法师哈。
Because everyone of these Master, they have their own belief, their own faith. Say we believe in medicine Buddha. Usually, we'll send these spirits to the Eastern Lapis Lazuli pure world. In overseas, the medium, what do they believe in? They will send to the world that they believe in. So I do not know where they send the spirits to. But what's importantly is they have the ability to remove the spirits from the house to other place. So as long as you know, it is similar to the liberation rituals that we performed. So usually when we do that, be it is a form of spirit or ghost, we hope that they be cleansed and then they be liberated to Pure Land, and then they be reformed further. We have no intentions of removing it completely, no. So different belief, different faith, they have different place to send them. But the medium found that actually when we chant, we actually open a portal. That's what it
但是
means.
呢，他们只是不会做。
But it's
说
just
念
that
的
they
这
do
个
not know
能量
how
还
to
不
do
够。
that.
说念能
Maybe
量够了的
because
时
they
候，
have not
就走
gathered
啊，
enough
是吧？你
energy.
说
If
一
they have
声
gathered
或者
enough
心念
energy,
里
they'll be
这么说
able
一下
to
啊，
open the
一
portal
回
door
就
and
走。
send directly
哎，
there.
这个门不一定你从哪里打开
And this gate is
啊，
this
像我们
gateway
的
is not
很多条
necessarily
件
where
啊，
you
就是
opened.
意念加上手一
It
挥
is just
就
the
要走。
intentions, and you just need to
啊，是
shift
这
your
样的，
move your
就
hands.
看你的修为达
It
到什么样的
depends
一个
on
程
your
度。
level of cultivations.
那么再就是，我看你们找到的点儿都是人家的尾巴哈，那是欧洲的一个老房子，
So
差不多
first
两
of all,
三
you
百
think
年的老
about it.
房子。
It's the
这种
house
老
is a
房子
very
容
old
易有这些
house.
事儿。
Usually
你想
happens
曾
in
经在这
old
个房子
house.
里多少代人都死
Can you
过，
imagine
对
how
不
many
对？
people would have
有的
died
是
in the
正
old
常火症
house?
死亡，也有的是
They
战
must have
争，也有的是
experienced
火灾，
death in
是吧？
this old
还有
house.
他杀等等都有。
Maybe it's killed,
所以留
maybe
在
it's
那里的
murdered,
很
maybe
多
it's
是不
died
正
of
常死
natural
亡的
death.
才
You
有
have
可
no
能，
idea.
这样他就没解脱嘛。对，
And because the death was
你想他
unnatural or
在欧洲发
or
达国家的话，
unexpected,
在
the
一个正常
spirit
死
is
亡
not
的话，都
liberated.
是有教堂去帮他超度了。
So usually the normal
是这种
situations
超
is
度，
that
是
in
是吧？
if a Westerner
非
died,
正
there
常
is
死
a
亡也不敢
church
告诉人呢。
to liberate them.
那所以他这个灵
But
魂
those
上
are
不来了，
natural death.
那小
But
女孩
if
每
it's
天让妈
unnatural
妈
death,
回来呢。
the spirit is not being dealt with, what happens? Or maybe there was a war.
就走了。
所以这个百年老房啊，也是要小心，要
So you want to be
注意的。
careful
我觉得还是
if
尽
the
量
house
避
is
免
too
要
old.
净化一下。
You need to cleanse the space.
所以呢，我就想呢，一会儿我再讲吧哈。就是如果你搬进一个新屋子，
So
或
I
者
just
搬
want
进
to
一个新住的
mention
一个老
that
屋子，那通常去了要做点什么啊？
if you're moving to a house, a new house, or moving into an old house, what
就
you
是
need
要
to
要有
do?
净化磁场的东西。
You need to have
那么第一
things
个
to
就是香，
cleanse the space.
这个
One
香，
is
我们烧
incense.
沉香也好，
It
啊，
can
檀
be
香也好，
agarwood,
真正的香。
incense,
但是你
or
买的那个特别化学香，我不知
sandalwood
道起不起作用，
incense.
好像特别熏人，
You
特
need
别
to
身体不
cleanse the
好。
space.
因为
That's
那
very
个香，
important
沉香和檀香，
because both
还
agarwood
有一
and
些少数的
sandalwood,
藏香，它
some
的配
even
方
have
哈
the
就是
Tibetan
辟邪的。
incense. There are
你烧
some
了这个
they are
香呢，
able
这
to
个
ward
香
off
气
negative
让这个
energy.
鬼或者是魔给驱走，这种污浊的这种东西给
And
驱
that's
走。
why they're able
这
to
样啊。
remove
那么再有一
the
些东西，
negative
你刚才提
energy.
到的西方人用的呢，叫鼠尾草，也是把它点燃。
So for some
那我在
Westerners,
温哥华还买
they
过几把那
usually
个
use
鼠尾
some
水
sage.
啊，也有一点怪怪的香味儿啊。
It has a very
起
strange
这个作
smell,
用。
but
那么最近呢，
it
我看
has
我们买
it's
的一
able
些
to
啊，
ward
就
off
是藏
as
香粉
well.
啊，配方很纯正的藏香
And
粉。
recently,
对，在这
we
些新
have
屋子里头哈，包
gotten
括旧
some
屋里
Tibetan
住，但是里
incense.
头确实不太安宁呢。
This
那
is
你可
very
以
useful
一天
for
或
the
者3
place,
天或者一个礼
the
拜
house that
清
is
一
not
次
very clean.
啊，这样的话，
You
这
can do
些
it like once a
鬼邪
week.
污浊之气哈，
You'll be
它
able
就
to
一闻这
cleanse,
个味儿就受不了
to ward off the evil,
啊，就可能都
the
头昏脑
plagues,
花
the
就得出去
illnesses,
要不然把它能熏死
or
啊，所以
demons,
他就得走。所
and
以
get
我
them
们
out of
这
the
个香
house.
呢，它除了能避这些邪气哈，也包括流行病的一些
It's
这些
also
东西啊
able,
感染流行病的东西，如果熏一熏也是有防范的这个
it's
效果。
also have preventive care,
对对，防瘟疫，防这些邪病。
prevent
比
the
如说你
evil
的邻居
energy.
附近有人死了人哈，
Or if
你最好
someone
在家里
died
熏一熏。
nearby, you want to burn the
还有呢，
incense.
就用这个香灰，如果有多余，
Or you have
撒在这个
extra,
门口上，
you have extra the leftover
香
of
灰。
the burned
如
incense.
果这些还
You
没有，
want to just
你也可以找这个
drop
青年
some along the
青
entrance
年
of the
对
house.
我们
对
也介绍过之
师傅
前。
加持
对，
清
如果能买到像我们北美慈悲音的红颜哈，那就更好效果。比如说青颜用1斤的话，红颜用半斤就可以，这效果就起到这个作用。还用这个盐呢，
Or
这个
salt.
盐哈，
Salt is good.
把它加到水桶里头，
Red
它
color
溶解
salt
了它之
or
后，
white color
啊
salt.
喷洒在车上，
Or if you
或者
can
屋子
put
周围也是
into,
在
you can mix
净化这个
both
磁场。
and then put
让这些
into a
邪气
spray
就
bottle and
去掉
spray the car.
你比如说你要加持这个车，
That's
因为
very
大家
good.
总开车啊，
If you
有时候在
want
路
to
上发生
bless
什
the
么
car,
不道对不对？所以你把这个盐水呢，有些在我们这请的哈，加
you
持过的
invite
青盐
the
或
salt,
者是红盐哈，
both
这个拿出一
type
包
of different type
在
of
发
salt.
生了融化之后
You can
哈，
mix them up,
最好
melt
是
it,
有那种能够喷，
and
能够像
important
喷
if you have the bottle spray
喷壶喷洒在车上
and spray in a
喷
car,
洒，用抹布把它清洗到哈，对，用这个盐水哈，这样就起到了这个车的净化了。
it will help to cleanse the car. We talk about having brides. Some place in some part of China, not everyone has a car. So during marriage, the brides and the bridegrooms want to borrow a better quality car. So it becomes better. Financially, we want to have a better car. During the marriage, you want to show that you have the abilities. It's a sense of glory during the wedding to bring the brides home. I do know about this. Do you know the moment that you want to get married? That's the energy when it's the highest. When your energy is so high, you attract other people's energy. So, to that person, it's actually good, but to you, may not be good. Your energy is being sucked away. So you should cleanse the car if you lend the car to others to be a brighter car. Otherwise, it's easy to have car road accidents. This reminder is so important, Master. So a lot of people don't know about this. They think that this is an auspicious time. They want to lend a car to become a bride's car, but they didn't realize that it's not so good for them. So it's important for them to keep some evil energy, or if the bride's strong energy, it cannot invade you. So basically, you need to reset the car after you lend others to be a brighter car. So in general, you want to cleanse that. You want to cleanse whether evil energy or the bride's energy. Why? Because the bride is not bad. It's not evil. It's just that on the wedding day, the bride's energy is the highest or the strongest, and it has like a magnetic force that will attract others' energy, and you attract. Don't wait till things happen, then you start to carry out this ritual. So Master, we have a present for this online friends. It's a lady. She said, Master, she has a request. If my story is being picked, can Master help the sister? Because the sisters has some cancer, and she hopes that Master will bless the sister. And she's enduring a lot of pain. The sister is suffering from breast cancer. So I want to have a gifts for the sister, and they will have each 8 auspicious treasure bits. And I have a pure tea that's for the sister to drink. And I hope that the chanting class, we will help to get rid of wishing the sisters to have. We will bless the sisters through merits from the upcoming Buddha's chanting class in Korea. So Master, we have another story from Taiwan, Xiao Yue. Hello Master, I'm Xiao Ye. Because of my sensitive body, I always have dreams, both good and bad. When I was about 10 years old, there's always a man who appears to rescue me. That was when I was 10 years old. He appeared younger too, maybe in his 20s. Now that I'm in my 20s, he seemed to be in his 30s. Previously, I could only see him from the neck down. But since last year, I could see his face in my dreams. and he's quite handsome. In my dreams, this man always block the pursuer and take me to a safe place to hide from them. And in dreams, without the pursuers, he takes me to explore maze-like forests, or lantern festivals, or various places. And the places he takes me remained vividly in my memory when I wake up, and they feel familiar. However, I've never been to or seen these places in real life. I can't help but wonder if these scenes are memories of a past life shared with this man, allowing me to remember them even when I wake up. And in 2022, the day before the Earth Soul Bodhisattva Sutra course, while I was sleeping, a force made me seemingly wake up while still lying in bed. And I had this strange force pressing on me, making me afraid that I couldn't wake up fully. And at that moment, the man from the dreams appears again and hugged me from behind. I heard him say, "Don't be afraid." For the first time in the dream, the scenes changed and we were standing on a boat. He was calm and took out a bottle of water. Suddenly, the scene shifted back to me lying on bed, and he poured the water from above my head, wetting the bed. I didn't understand why he did that, so I hurriedly wiped the water off the bed. As I did, I suddenly woke up completely. It turned out that the man used the water to bring me back to the real world. By end of October 22, I started having fewer dreams. Not every night, but maybe every 6 or 7 days. And I also hadn't seen the man in my dreams anymore. I thought he might have moved to another incarnations. All along, whenever I have enough funds, I offer invisible beings like offerings. Since I don't know the man's name, I offer these offerings to help him and other invisible beings. Being able to offer light and lotus positions for them to accumulate merits make me very happy. In early 23, I noticed some change in me. My appetite started to decrease. For over 20 years, I used to feel hungry at night, and I have a large dinner, like eating 3 bowls of noodles, and shortly afterwards, I crave snacks. Even when I order food, I often get double portions. And this behavior was like feeding not just myself, but another soul within me. But now, I can't even finish a regular meal, and I don't feel hungry at night. I couldn't help but wonder if my previous eating habits and hunger were related to the man in my dreams. I don't know if he had gone to a better place. I earnestly seek your guidance, Master. I'm greatly grateful. Xiaoye is very good to have dreams, and it's like a movies. Her dreams, for some strange reason, when she grew up, the guy also grew up. When she's 10 over years old, the guy's in the 20s, and when she grew up, she's now in the 20s, the guy is in the 30s. So it seems that the guy grew up about the same time. And every time when she has difficulties, the guy seems to save her. And then they will go to, and she even described, when he was young, she couldn't see his face. But as she grew older, and when she started to dream, she started to see his face. And says that he looks quite handsome. That's very interesting. Well, I think because he looks quite handsome, that's why it's not so scary. Well, if he looks scary, that's worse. it seems like she knows him from
但他
past
还
life.
讲了一个挺有趣的
She
现
also
象，就是
shared that
他从去年的时候
from
啊
last
他
year
就开始，去年10月他就
in
梦不到这个
October,
男子了。当然，他也一直有在供灯啊这样子的。
and she started to have fewer dreams, and that's
他
also
的
because
食
she
量
has
开
been
始减少
offering lights.
啊，就是之前他到晚上都会吃很多很多，
And
就是
before
他这
that,
个说的
at
这个
night,
加
she
餐
tend to
份
eat
数
a
对于
lot,
小
like
女
double
生来讲，我觉得
portions,
是非常多了，吃3碗很大
or
的面呐，
sometimes
还要
even
吃很
3
多零
bowls,
食。
3 dinner
但是这
servings.
个等到今年年初的时候，发现
But
现在连
beginning
1碗
of
都不
this
需要
year,
吃了，
she
就
noticed
是
a
她
change.
不知道是不是之
Her
前
appetite decreased.
在喂2个人在吃。
So she started to wonder if she would eat
对，
for
这
2
个问
person.
题有点意思啊。
嗯，
This question
在
is
我
quite
修行中的
interesting.
时候呢，也有一段时间就是特别
In
能
my
吃，
cultivations for a period of
但是
time,
呢，过了这个特别能吃的时候，
there's a
有一
period
次
that I
我
eat a
的
lot.
能吃的程度是1个人可以吃4人份儿，
And that time I could eat for 4
但过一段
I could
时
eat
间
4
呢，
portions.
我可以1个月不吃，
And
能
after
45
that,
天不吃。
I was able
但那是
to
一个
not
修行的
eat for
状
a
态
month.
啊。像他这个情况呢，
For
还有
her
很多其实有点
conditions,
被附体的人会出现这个现
it
象。
is something
就
that
是
she
一个人
has
吃
a
2、3
parallel
人
body
的
world
份
or
儿
existence on her
比如
body.
她是个女士哈，
Because
饭量
she's
通常
a
会小一
lady,
点吧哈，但是吃的好像2个壮
but
男
she
的饭，
seems to be eating
就
like
等于至少
2
3份儿
men's
饭，是1
portions.
个人吃到肚子里去了。觉得对于食物放到那儿都觉得不知道往肚子里哪儿摆，
And she feels that
那
when
那
the
是
food is there, she feels that she need to
啊真是
consume.
觉得就是还饿。那这种呢，确实是有一种被附体的现象。所以她的
Indeed,
这个
it seems like there's
奇特
someone,
的这
there's a
种梦
spirit
境故事
entering her
啊，
body.
让我想到它是2种现象。
And
那么第一
regarding
种
her
的话
dreams,
呢，
I think there are
可能会有一
possibilities.
个人和他有一种奇特姻缘的
One
一个人，是个灵魂的人哈，
is
应
the
该是个鬼魂。
spirit, the spiritual world, that
和他
person,
相伴
that
了很久。
spirit has some karmic connections
就
with
首
her.
先从食量这个角度来说，
Let's look at the perspective of from a diet point
确
of
实
view.
就应该是确实在。
Yes, indeed, it's
常有这么个人
present.
在。那这个人是不是和他有前世
Who
姻
is
缘？
that person?
这
Are
个
they
是可能性
connected
是巨
last
大的。
in the past life?
嗯，
That's
那
a
么
question.
第2种现象，以他这个
There's a
现象分析
possibilities.
哈，就让我想起来了。最近网上我看到有人说，
The second
但
one,
是我自己
recently I
在修
saw
行中的时候
on the
也
internet,
去研究过这样的一种
something that
现
I've
象，
researched upon
就是其实
during
我
my
们
own
同时在
practice
不同的世界，
is that
就是
we
我们
are
这个
in
人
2
生啊，
parallel worlds,
还可能同时出现在不同的世界。
or we exist in parallel
不
worlds,
同的世
in
界。
different
我有
worlds.
兴趣听师傅，
对，
特别有兴趣。
就
That's
是我
very
们今天，
interesting.
我今天在这接人带物这
Say
个环
today
境啊，
I'm here in this
但同时
environment,
还有另外一个世界，就好像我们旁边就有一
and
个叫做
it's just
叫
like
真
there's
实的镜
another
子一
world.
样。
It's as
所以
if
你
there's
看
a
着特别
mirror
干净的镜
beside
子里，
us.
你看你在你这个睡房，比如说有一个特别大的一个大镜子，
It's
对吧？
just like in a
你怎么
bedroom,
做
you
任
have
何
a
的动作，
huge
穿任何的
mirror.
衣服，你都看得清清楚楚，
You
对
can
不
see
对？
yourself
像是
really
2个
well.
自己在做一件
You
事情，
can see what is the
对不
actions that
对？
you are doing.
比如说你在织毛衣吧，
Say
里
you are
面那个人
knitting,
也在织毛衣，
that
但
person
那
is
个人
also
是你，
knitting, but that person
但
is
是这
you,
镜子的你
but
那个你
exists
是
in
一
a
个影子，
parallel
对不对？
world. But
而
the
非
mirror
真实的
itself
你。
is actually an
可是
image.
我说的呢，
But what I
同时在
say
2个世
is
界
that
的话
in
呢，
two
那
worlds,
个世界的你
there are
也
two
在织毛衣，
existence, two
但是是
existence
真
of
的。
you.
就非常的同步的，完全的同步哈。
几乎是绝对同步。
It is like in the
所以
same
有人
time
把这个世
space,
界起
but
名
in a
叫
different
平行
world.
世界。平行世界，
It is called
平
a
行世界就是
parallel
说我们
universe.
就是做的一模一样的一个人生的事情，
You do
几乎每
exactly the
天做
same
的事儿
thing.
都是一样的。
You do
但
exactly
是
the same
但是
thing
我的
every
分析
day.
来说，每个人不一定完全一样，是指他的一生生命中的状态是一样的。他的比如说他结婚的对象是一样的，
Say, for
他
example, they
经历
marry
的
the
幸
same
福与痛
person,
苦是一样的，
they experience the
比如
same
他的富贵
happiness
程度是一
and
样
same
的，
sadness,
小细节上
the
是否一
same
样
level
不知道，
of fortunes.
但是几件大事儿是一样的。
But the details may not be similar,
包
but
括他跟
major
前特别好的
things
朋友和
are
他的
similar.
职业等等的事情也是一样。
even friends that they're
你看
close
不
to,
光
or
是
even the jobs
这
that
个平
friends
行的世
have
界，不是光有
are
这一个人，
very similar.
是有咱们这里所有的人。
And in that
也就是
parallel
说，
universe,
还因此
they
还有
have
的时候
all
叫
the
平
people
行
that
世界
exist in this
当中
world.
还有个平行的地球，
And
还有
there's
个
also
平
a
行的你我
parallel
他。
earth.
对， 比如我们在这里生，在那个平行世界中你也生。
Say we live in this world, in that parallel universe that's similar as that.
就是类似于平行世界中的另外一个世界。
So it actually is another world that exists with similarities.
但是那个世界的我也是100年去世。
So say in this world, you died at 100 years old. In that world, you died as 100 years old. The same.
那个我才去世。但是他们的人生经历一样。
Their life experience is the same. It is the difference is the time. In that time being stretched longer. It's a little bit hard to explain. So what is the purpose of this parallel universe? Well, only Buddha Dharma can explain. It's because of your life experience. Let's say about hell. There's a hell that's all firebed. And if a body, if a spirit is tortured in that world, you have all the needle that's poked. Your sense of happiness. So it's like you have multiple you and spread into different universe and exist in different universe. Sometimes it is like that. Maybe there's another Uli in another universe. It's very likely. It may not be good. Well, if you feel good, if your life is not easy, then you will have double of that. If you have unhappiness in this world, you have double unhappiness.
这个男子啊，他感觉自己就要醒的时候，是被人家一盆凉水就给泼醒了。
对。
So the dreams about being splattered by water to wake up, that is very interesting. Actually, it means that Xiao Ye is still missing the world, the other world that she experienced. So I feel that she's actually pursuing the guy. She has this love with the spirit. She has this view that is beautiful because she feels that he is quite good looking. And she starts to miss this spirit guy. So when you have attractive looks, if you want to pursue a spirit, you want to pursue a handsome or attractive spirit. But in your heart, you must be very clear that you cannot exist with this. You want to get rid of it. You want to put a stop to this. Because your world, human world, cannot exist together with the spiritual world. Because it's very likely that you may enter into that world in the different time space. It's very dangerous. Including someone that has lived with us for very long, be it lovers, be it a husband, or someone that we very close to. We must understand that life, there is no. We must understand that there's life and death every moment. Life is impermanent. There's life, there will be death. When it's time to break free, you have to break free. Otherwise, it's easy for you to interact, to cross over to the spiritual world, and that is bad for you. It is not good for both parties because existence in these two different worlds.
或者你这个小书生哈，你真的和鬼混在一起，
So if you
你这样
read
会害死你的。
So if you look at some of the ancient stories about the spiritual world and the human world, the story of that, you will see that the monks or the masters will try to get those involved in such love relationships to cease from that, because it is a dream. You want to be back to reality, back to the human world, and not to have too much interconnections with the spiritual world. What you want to do is you want to do more light offerings and seek of the bodhisattvas to liberate the spirit. And that's to help you. Because no matter how good it is, just remember that person don't exist in the human world, and there's no good ending to it. Should we have a present for Xiao Ye too? So we have two for Xiao Ye. Wishing you auspiciousness, wishing you health and happiness. Master, we have another Lin Xiaoping from Taiwan, and she has questions about the son. Hello, Master. My son is 16 years old. He has a very sensitive constitution. When he was an infant, up until 6 months old, whenever we went out, we had to return home before 7 p.m. Otherwise, he would cry uncontrollably and couldn't be smoothed. So when he was in primary school, he was playing with his sister, then suddenly, without any reason, he collapsed and he rolled his eyes back and he started twitching, resembling an epileptic seizure. He remained unconscious for about 30 seconds. I kept calling his names and offer blessings. Immediately, I request the meditation center to light lamps on his behalf, and I performed prayer for him. After a while, he woke up. The next day, we took him to the doctor and had his head scanned. And the doctor said that there was nothing wrong with him and there's no sign of epilepsy. So once, when my son was abroad and staying in a hotel, he was awakened by the sound of the bathroom door closing and flushing. So he looked at his roommate next to him, who was sound asleep. He wondered who was in the bathroom. Gathering his courage, he checked the bathroom but found no one there, and there was no sound. He returned to bed, but as soon as he sat down, he heard the door close and water flush again. Frightened, he quickly wore Master's Dharma image blessing cards and slept with the lights on. Only then did the strange sound stop, and he slept soundly until morning. And this situation occurred twice more in different countries. 2 years ago, something even more terrifying happened. Our whole family went on a trip to Jiufen, and while we were walking on the old street, we passed the entrance of a mine. Suddenly, my son felt a cold wind and became very uncomfortable. We quickly left the old street. As we left, we drove to Shisanling ruins and overlooking the Yingyang Seas. During the drive, my son suddenly felt a headache and dizziness. Initially, I thought it was due to the stiffness of the back seat of the car, so I let him sit in the front for comfort. But his discomfort persisted and worsened. While driving along the coastal routes towards New Taipei, his headaches becomes unbearable, and he had difficulties breathing. He felt like someone was gripping his neck tightly, choking him, and making it hard to breathe and almost suffocating him. He could hardly make a sound, and in agony he touched his neck and weakly called, "Mom! Mom!" Knowing how uncomfortable he was, my husband quickly pulled the car over, and I immediately played the mantra of Guru Rinpoche, chant by Master, and I also held the Virgil Pestle and 6 Master blessing for my son. Gradually, his headache finally subsided. He could breathe properly again, and he started to feel better. He fell asleep, and when he woke up, the dizziness was gone, his breathing was back to normal, and he didn't feel that choking sensation anymore. He was completely fine. Since then, to prevent further disturbance, my son carries the Master's Dharma image blessing cards, or the Vajra pestle with him. He keeps them in his school bags too, ensuring that his peace of mind and protections from negativities. Up to this point, he hasn't encountered any strange occurrence. Great gratitude to Master. So from birth, the son already has a very sensitive constitute. It happens when he was in primary school. There's time that he has sudden seizures that resemble epileptic seizure. Why did such symptoms suddenly just occur? The sign of epilepsy doesn't mean the person is suffering from epilepsy. It's just sign of it. It is just similar to that, resembles that. Even Cao Cao had this headache. Was it Hua Tuo? When Cao Cao has this massive headache, for this child, it's not really epilepsy. Because when that happens, he has no control of the body. What is worse is that they actually bite their tongue when they have this seizure. Sometimes there are danger. When the person quiet down, the child is very smart. But because of this, their emotions up and downs is quite frequent, can be quite frequent. But the child is a bit sensitive. So she talked about the Taiwan touristy place, the Jiufen. So the question is the place that they visited, the old street. Are there some dead spirit? Let me ask you, in Taipei, Taichung, are they dead spirit? Yes. Some is because of the sensitivities in the mind. What happens when you are so sensitive? You always have the invasions of negative energy. So this got to do with the past life connection. And after that, when she goes to the car, the son felt like someone was gripping his neck tightly and trying to choke him. Why? Definitely there is a ghost of spirits that's trying to kill him. So for this child, because of his sensitivities, any place that he goes that has a little bit more negative energy, he will feel it, he will have the sensations. Actually, before that, I know of some people who experience that. Like they go to the toilets, and some even hear people urinating when there's no one in the toilet. Some open the toilet, they see nothing, nobody, but the toilet is being flushed. Isn't that scary? After they leave, flush or curse again. Well, maybe that place only have that hotel. There's no other hotel. Why is it that there's such problems? They may not know the reason why. Actually, the people know, but they will not say. They just say, well, I'll bring you to a quieter hotel room. I bring you a quieter room. Then the person is now able to sleep. These are all karmic connections. Because the person lacks enough yang energy. If we don't talk about the scientific aspect, if in your past life or if your ancestors, they have done something unreasonable, they may have done some killings, then it's likely that the descendants will have very sensitive constitutions. In the mental world, well, maybe you are very happy when you kill. What happens is your descendants. So it is a form of punishment, the karmic debt that's being placed onto the spirits of the descendants. And that's why they're easy for them to enter into some mental-related disease or discomfort. So is there anything that they can do for the child? They can offer lights for the child, medicine Buddhas, Guanyin Bodhisattvas, to ask their blessings to help him. As we say this, I will also help this child to bless the child. I'm just Lin Xiaoping's son. I will help to calm your spirit. It got to do with his ancestors. Because the ancestors are not happy with the child. Usually they're not happy with the child's parents. And that's why the retribution is on the child. I do not know if you have been disrespectful to your ancestors. But I saw a burning paper from your ancestors. So you have to do something to calm the mind of the ancestors that you need to do. Thank you, Masters, for providing them with guidance. It's important for them to repent to their ancestors. Because if they don't do well, it will affect their descendants. Because they need their ancestors to protect the child. It's not easy to have a good life. If you know what you've done in the past has caused you now, you would have tried not to do the harm in the past life. So what you want to do is to do good in this life so that you will not bring to the next life. For those who complained about your current life, Buddha has already tell you, you have to look at your past actions and also your ancestors, their past actions. Because the karma, the karmic debts may be passed on to the descendants. So these are because of karma. Should we have presents for them? And it is during this period, Ullambana festival. And it is important for us to accumulate merits for our ancestors. Look at this. This is a very beautiful bracelet. This is for the ladies. And this is the agate. This is the agate for a pestle. And there's also 8 auspicious treasure bits for you and your child. Wishing you auspiciousness, health, and longevity. Thank you, Master.
接下来师傅也是一个比较凶险的故事哈。
Now we have another quite scary story as well.
化解降头。20年前，爸爸从马来西亚的西马到东马去做生意。他在一家商场里开了一间眼镜店，生意很好，却也遭来了同行的嫉妒和眼红。大约1年多。
So, 20 years ago, my father traveled from West Malaysia to East Malaysia for business, and he opened an eyewear shop in a shopping mall which thrived and attracted jealousies among competitors. After about a year, my father's hands, feet, and forehead skin started cracking and developed a layer resembling snake skin. Every night at 2 a.m. sharp, he would suffer from itching and discomfort, and his skin would feel hot. He had to immediately take a shower to relieve the itching and heat. He shed about a cup's worth of skin flakes daily. So he consulted a dermatologist who diagnosed him with psoriasis and prescribed creams and steroid injections to control its growth. However, it continued to grow rapidly and it returned soon after treatment. And in addition to being tormented by paralysis, his right foot swelled like an elephant leg, making it very difficult to walk. He couldn't tolerate sunlight and had to sleep under the bed at night. Worst of all, he emitted an odor resembling that of a dead body. And as an optometrist, the eyewear store owners, he needed to face customers, but he could only rest frequently and he couldn't run the business. So one day, during the follow-up visit to the clinic, the doctors advised my father that the frequent steroid injections could harm his kidney. While it seemed strange coming from a medical professional, that was a similar case to my father's. The doctor suggested that my father consulted a medium. With the help of a friend's connections, my father found an elderly medium in a remote village. After examining my father, the medium instructed him to look into a bowl of water. In the water, my father saw the person who had hexed him. The person often appears in the mall and uses excuses to visit the store for eyes examinations. And the medium asked if my father wanted to reverse it on the person. Well, as a Buddhist who believes in karma, my father chose to let it go. After that, the medium performed 3 consecutive rituals. My father's condition slightly improved. However, the disease returned shortly after. The medium suggested that they find the root of the problems in my father's store. When the medium dropped a bead on the store's floor, it rolled all the way to the cashier counter locations. When my father lifted the carpet under the counter, he found a piece of white cloth with Javanese writing and drawings of a man and a woman. The target was my parents. The locations where my father's right foot was often placed matched the positions of the hex, causing his foot to swell and impair his mobility. After a religious ceremony, my father's swollen legs, itchy skin, sensitivities to heat and light all improved. However, the psoriasis continued to plague him for more than a decade, until diabetes led to a leg amputation due to an ulcer. But the pain didn't resurface. Perhaps my father had to bear this karma. Later, when my father saw the medium who helped him, the medium has already gone insane, and the competitor who hired the medium to hack my father's business also faced business failures and marital problems shortly after. So one must not harbor malicious intentions, as karma is real. I believe that by sincerely chanting the Buddha's name, accumulating merits, and repenting, we could add layers of protections to our lives. Grateful to Masters for teaching us compassion and giving us the opportunity to accumulate merits. Sincere gratitude to Masters and Buddhas. So this is karmic retributions because of casting black magics. So the body experienced various degrees of pains and sufferings. And after they find the reason why they cast the black magic on the father is because of the jealousies of the competitors. So eventually, the medium who assisted the competitors to carry out the black magic on the family didn't have a good ending. And as for the competitors who instructed the medium to carry out the black magic, he too didn't have a good ending. His business was affected. He suffered business failures and marital problems.
解你眼前的这个情绪，对吧？他生意比你好，你呢就生他的气，你嫉妒他，是吧？你就是说，就像别人骂你一句，你打人2拳一样，说眼前痛快了，那其实没有想到未来啊。凡是用这种恶念，尤其是
those who have evil intentions, or those who perform black magics or engage medium to carry out some bewitchment, they will actually have to pay the price for it eventually. This is the law of karma. So I think the father is still a generally kind person, and he well aware that there's no end to revenge, so he chose to let it go. So for us who learn about the Buddha Dharma, when we know about what happens when if you continue to take revenge, so you will choose to let it go. So if you look at the stories, those who cast the black magics, the medium who cast the black magic didn't have a good ending. And the competitors who engaged the medium to cast the black magic, he too suffer in the end. I think some competition is good, but just make sure that don't become too fierce competition, that it becomes very unhealthy competitions and cause harm to one another. So we have a present for Hui Jing and the father to protect the father. This is for Hui Jing. This is so beautiful. It's very suitable for ladies. This is like a jade bead. It's for the father. Wishing you health and happiness and auspiciousness. Thank you, Master.
那师傅啊，我们今天也是听了不少网友的真实的故事哈。
We have learned a lot of stories, heard a lot of stories from our online friends.
到中邪呀，被掐得死死的哈，就是各种各样的哈，就是像这样子的邪气啊、鬼气啊，它纠缠。
So all these evil spirits, negative energies.
最后可能会导致什么样的结果
What happens in the end?
一个是就是。
I'll tell you the truth. We are in a live broadcast. I can't think of others, but the possible outcome is early death. You may be frightened to death, or you enter into a madness, a state of madness. So these will potentially cause death. That's the most serious. The less serious is serious illness. Whether is it because of black magic, it is difficult to heal or impossible to heal. So first, they take your life. Secondly, you have some serious disease. Like the child, when the spirit is intruding him, it tries to kill him. For some, they'll be so fearful that it affects their mental state. I've seen quite a lot of people, when they enter into that state, it has injury to the brain. You will find that their eyes, they cannot see forward. They cannot see right in the center. Well, it's possible that out of 30%, one of them will have this. So because of the evil spirits or evil intrusions of the energies, it affects their eyes. Or one eye is big, one eye is small. These are all signs, potential signs. When you have such manifestations, it will affect the brain. The brain will not be able to perform normally. Say if you study for degrees, if you are able to carry out some tasks, that's good. Some may have epilepsy. So at the least serious level is autoimmune attack. Or they may just see spirits every day. If the two eyes appears bluish or purplish, if people there have this sign, what do you think of their sign? They're mentally not stable. So what must you do? You must accumulate more merits for them. So this is a time for you to accumulate merits. You may say that, why is it that my family is just so unfortunate? My experience or my explanations is that some of them is because of karma, especially those very serious disease. So it is like you reap what you sow. If you have bitter gourd, if you plant bitter gourd, your fruits that bear the fruit will be a bitter gourd. If you plant a nicer fruit, at the end, you will harvest a good, better fruits. In the past, I want to help people, but I seldom tell people, you want to spend money to invite some stuff. I'm very fearful and very mindful to do that. It's not because I wanted to make money from your purchase. I would say that maybe you want to go to the center to be a volunteer. But sometimes when I tell people that, many people are willing to accept it. Some people, they may be here to accumulate merits. So some say that I'll just be volunteer for 3 months. The question is, what can 3 months solve? You may say to me, Master, do you know how much money I earn every month? I say, I don't know. So 1 year, I earned 300,000 USD. Well, if you're making 300,000 and you just buy 30,000 insurance, are you silly? It doesn't matter how much you pay for your insurance. But if you lose health, if you lose your life, what's the purpose of so much money? But a lot of people don't see that. When I tell them and I ask them and I allocate job for them, when we see that they have some conditions, we invite them to come to the center to become volunteers. But after a while, they start to pick on the different things. And after that, first step they do is that they start to say that they are poor. So say, for example, we have engaged someone to join Bodhi as a for the technical expertise. Because some people who are purely work on the volunteer basis in Bodhi, but there are some, because of their technical experience, we have to hire them for their skill sets. So we try to make sure that we gave them a reasonable salary because they need the money for living. But some people who are here for volunteers, once they hear that the full-timers is making certain amount of money, they start to wonder, they start to ask, to want to have a salary as well. Maybe 350, maybe 200 or 250. Sometimes I question. When I heard about this, the person did not come to me directly and say, I want to accumulate merits. Oh, you want to accumulate merits, but you still want money. But after you take some money, you're not at ease, then you ask, Master, if I'm a volunteer, I take some salaries, do I still accumulate merits? How much merits do I accumulate? Well, how much do you take? Well, $1,000. Well, if you take $1,000, you have no merits. If I take $300, you still have 70% of merits. So if your coming debt is huge, say you owe this coming debt, maybe if it's a huge debt, just by being a volunteer at the center for this entire life, you may not be able to repay that coming debt. So after 3 years, the person died. Why? You come accumulate merits. You steal the funds from the meditation center. You fail to fulfill your initial vow. You return back to your normal formed model. So if you want to change, if you want to be better, it's very easy to say. You may say that as long as my health improves, as long as I do not have pain and suffering, you can ask me to take shit, I will eat it too. So a lot of time, a lot of us are just like toddlers or just kindergarten students. You must know that to have opportunity to accumulate merits is very good already. But some feel this sense of imbalance, and they wanted to have salary. Indeed, you have the salary, but what about the misfortune that you're trying to come here to accumulate, to pay off? How do you cultivate? Well, once you start to practice, indeed, you do have the protections of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Master. But you need to accumulate the merits.
对，所以的话，这个要小心哈。
So you
今
want
天
to
咱
be
们讲的
careful.
这些，可能罪过还不是特别大。
Today, when we talk
但是
about
我
all
们刚
this,
才讲到
the
这些东西，
wrongdoings may not
借
accumulate
佛
a lot
不
of
能
karmic
骗人钱
debts.
财的话，
But
未
if
来
you
你和你
scam
的子
others,
孙非常危险。
so
有一个
that's
神
very
经正常就算不
dangerous.
错了，就很麻烦，
听都觉得
都是地狱了。
You're just
所以这个
just
贪婪呢
awaiting the
不
hell
能
gate
害
to
死
open
自
for
己
you.
关键害你现在不要紧，害你的来世。
Well, it's okay if it's
还害
harm
你的
you
子
in this
孙
life.
子孙子
What
孙
if this
让
harm
你
is
眼
being
看着
brought
他们受
forward
苦受罪
to your future life,
这个
to your
是
future
很痛苦的
reincarnations
是你自己
and your
哎
future
这个大家自
descendants?
己要学能明白我
So
所讲的
you
哈。
need
你
to
来给你
slowly
基督
grasp
做功德，你就好好去做。
what I
你
am
在
trying
改
to
变你
explain
的
to you.
健康，改变
You
你
are
的
here,
命运。
you're trying to
改命运
accumulate merits, is
啊，
it
像
will
药师
help
佛像消灾延寿
to
的，
improve your
怎么
health.
消灾呀？你做
Your
功德
help
呀，
to clear
对
off
不对？
your
刚做了
calamities
功
and
德，
extend your
刚
life.
做一点点功德，
But
完了之后你就开始
If you're
开始
doing
反
this,
思，
you are
完了
not
之后拿道
accumulating
场的钱
merits.
走，对不对？有
You are
条件解
stealing
释
the merits that you're
哎
trying
那
hard
不
to
行的。
accumulate.
那我们去阅读古代那些佛门
If
大
you
师
read
的哈，
about
有的时候很难伺
the
候的。
ancient
那师傅
sutra,
有的时候为了训练你哈，而
sometimes
类似
in
像
order
折磨
to
你一样。
cultivate you,
比如你明明有牛可以耕地，说你自己去耕地，
they will
没不
have
不要
some
地
difficult
地
problems for
那
you
牛
to
都没有，
resolve.
怎么弄啊？
Say
那
their
个
cow
泥
that
泥
will
巴
be
的泥
able
泥
to
土的
help
那个东西啊，是一个
to
人拉不动的，那你不是
plow
来修
the
吗？
land, but
对不对？
the master may ask you to
那师
plow
傅
with
为
your
什么这么
hands.
折磨你呢？在笑你
Is
的
it because your master is
你
trying
受
to
尽这
torture
份
you?
苦而毫无怨言，要
No.
干到老师傅满意，要干
If
到
you're
那个一
able
定
to
的
follow the
年，
instructions
那
of
个年
master
论年算的，或者
without
论天算的，
complaints,
有没有工资啊？没有。
and you have no
你
salaries,
来干了半天活，种了粮食，
maybe
师
you
傅还
work
经常说，
half,
还吃点
you
就行
have
了，别
worked
吃
for a
那么
long
饱，
time,
是
you
吧？
have no
吃太肥了干嘛
salaries,
呀？跑不动。
and you can't
对
move,
不对？
you're tired out.
今天咱们禅堂，你像我们能说这个弟子这样吗？说看你胖点儿，别吃了，吃了发胖行吗？你会怎么样？你心里开始得诅咒我了。这家伙
Today, can we
你
tell
这么
our
胖，给我
disciple
胖还
that,
不如杀了我。
well, don't, you should stop eating, otherwise you will grow too fat? What happens if you are the person who heard this? You will start to curse me for saying such straight and honest opinions of you.
招待大家嘛，啊，过法会啊，或者是做
So a lot of time we have a lot of dharma, and we try to invite
那
people
学
to
员
come.
们也是，哎，当然了，都很欢喜，很
Some
开心。
students, when they
但
come
是
for all
啊，
these
被
events, they're
优
all
待
very
惯了
happy.
之后，哪一天啊，当我们的这个招待回归
But
正常的时
if
候，或者就
our
是
we are
啊
we are
轻
so
暂
we
时吧，
put
就
so
是
much
两
effort
次
on
的又很
customer
普通的
service,
时
we
候，
treat you
大
so
家就
well.
不习
But
惯
if
了，
one
不
day
舒
we
服
back
了，
to
就不
normal,
开心了，
you
就
may
这样。
feel very uncomfortable. You may feel that this is not the norm. Why am I not treated well?
就为了很小的一件事，
And because for a very small
所以
event
就是时时
or
刻
very
刻
small
要提醒啊，
incidents,
提醒我
you
们
may
究
hold
竟是在
grudges.
这样的
And
一
that's
个
why I think it's important that
我们的机
masters
构
you
里来，
constantly
我们的道
remind
场里
us,
来，我们来修行，我
co-
们是
remind
为
us
什
what
么来
actually
我是
is
冲什么来
accumulations of
是为
merits.
了赎罪来的。
对，其实呢，等赎罪了哈，赎了罪，你的
Actually, when
你
you
的
clear your
业
karmic
还的
debts,
差不多了哈，
when you
像天
repay
灾一样，
enough,
还的差不多，就是你的特别的真诚的心哈，
when you are very
会感动
sincere,
佛菩萨，
your
还感
sincerity
动我这
touches
个师父
Buddhas,
可能会
Bodhisattvas,
帮你消业，
and
让
masters
你的
will
孩子，
help
比如说
you
总是在
to
扶持
clear
啊，被折磨
your
的孩子
debts,
哈，最后就没有
your
事
karmic debts. Help your
可
child.
能佛光就自动给他
The
封了顶
Buddha's
啊心魔
illuminations
不归
will illuminate them
有一天碰到
naturally.
我要给你封了顶，这个邪魔不入
Sometimes I will also
那
block
你功德
the
到那儿的时候，我
openings
们再
in
给
the
你加
head
持，
so
要
that you
富
will
贵
not be
得富
disturbed
贵
by the
是
evil
吧要
energy.
名望得名望，这多好啊！要容颜有美貌，对吧？
Isn't that great when you
你
accumulate
要基
merits?
本功
You
也
have
要做到
beauty, you
这个
have
基本
look,
功做不到不行。
and not only that, you have
我记得上课
auspiciousness.
前，这个坤提问了我哈，说师傅，你说带金刚杵的作用大，还是做
Mas
功德的
just
作用
now,
大？
Tunti asked
那
me,
物理说
what's the
那肯定
purpose
是
to
做功德
bring,
的作用大。
对对对。
which one is
所以我
more
的比喻
powerful?
呢，就像比如说你头疼
Is
哈
it
你带
Vajrapasto
金刚杵的
or
话，就
Puba?
形同于有点类似于吃止痛药，
So
吃了不痛了，你能够
the
受痛折
Vajrapasto
磨的感
is
觉没
like
有但是那
painkillers.
个病还在。但是如果呢，
When you
你把
carry
这个
that,
债还完了，
but if
功
you
德做好
pay
了
the
之后呢，
debts,
头痛从此就
the pain will just disappear. Why is it that you have a headache? Why is it that you have carried so many blessed items with you and you still have a headache? There are some people who have migraine headache and it cannot be cured for their life. Why? a lot of disease, we need to take painkillers. And if this moment, if you can gain realization, put your palms together. Chant together with me. Chant with me. Namo Da Ci Da Bei, Xiao Zai Yan Shou Yao Shi Fo. Namo Da Ci Da Bei, Xiao Zai Yan Shou Yao Shi Fo. Namo Da Ci Da Bei, Xiao Zai Yan Shou Yao Shi Fo. 救我。So now you gently pat your head. So put the palms on the chest and say ha. Say 1, 2, 3, ha. Do it again. Ha. Do it again. Ha. Just now, I hope that it will help to get rid of all your pain.
On
August the 30th, next Wednesday. So today is Sunday. So next Wednesday, we have a Ullambana festival. What's the time? It is the same timing as our live broadcast. It's Asia Taipei time, 7 p.m. And I hope all of you will come and watch. All that name list that you have sent us, we will chant and we will burn them away. And the purpose of that is to help to ward off all negativities. Some is our ancestors or our karmic debtors, and also abortions, aborted fetus. Aborted fetus tends to disturb the mom. And also some unknown. Or our ancestors who have done some killings. Maybe they have done some robbery work that cause harm to others or in a trade that's harmful. How can you endure that? So all these karmic debts, we will carry out chanting, and we will perform a ritual, and we will seek medicine Buddhas, of-store Bodhisattvas for their forgiveness, for their liberations, so that their karmic debts can be cleared, and to achieve happiness.
这一次我们共灯的所有的网友朋友们，师父也非常慈悲，大家就是所有往生的都。
Masters is very compassionate.
这一次我们也会化掉这些灵
All those
所以还没有共灯的网友朋友们一定要抓紧这个机会。
who haven't offered lights, you want to do that urgently.
历代祖先冤亲债主
For all the karmic debtors, for your ancestors. If you miss these opportunities, you will have to wait for next year. So it will be on Wednesday. It's the same time. come and join us. We chant together. All who present will receive great blessings. Wishing all health, longevity, happiness, and may you attain peace. See you Wednesday.
小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧无虑。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有恐惧。 生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧无虑。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有恐惧。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，了解生命的真理，救寻的意义。因为有了你，日子犹如彩虹般美丽。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。我快乐了，我美丽了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与您相遇。小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧无虑。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有恐 啦啦。